welcome Dad. How's it going?
Yeah, it's cool.
Right, so obviously a little bit different to the short but sweet. I've said this about 1,000 times in all the interviews, but what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the questions from that interview and just go in more in depth, and then there's a few other ones mixed in there. So what we'll start with is, what's your most memorable capture?
That would have to be the number one lever from Hartsmore.
Right, okay.
Two reasons. One of them, I've never had a lever cart before, ever, of all the years. And it was the biggest one in there.
How big did it go?
I had it quite a few times in my time on there, but this specific capture was 29-12. I'd had it a few times before as well.
So, you know, just explain the capture from, like, I don't know, the moment you got there, what you've done, tactics, and then, you know, if you can remember the bite and the fight, just explain all that.
Well, I turned up and there was two guys that had been on for a week. Didn't look very good, or very promising at all because nothing had been out.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of laps around the lake, which is a very small lake anyway, a very small lake.
Yeah.
Had a couple of laps around and decided on one of the dugouts, which was just off the side of the island basically.
Yeah.
And I proceeded to put my baits out. I had a chat with the anglers before I set up. Nothing had been out, like I said. Proceeded to get my rods out onto the spots that I was going to fish, and within 10-15 minutes of getting the Pacific rod out that I took the leather on, she rolled over the top within 5 or 10 minutes. I knew I was going to catch her, really, to be honest.
Bloody hell.
About half an hour later it went, and I had to get one of the boys that had fished for the week beforehand to come around and photograph it for me.
Yeah.
He did some wicked photographs, excellent, fish with mint. The fight was, yeah, it was quite strong fish.
Because it's an area, am I right in saying, like I said, I've been there, but it was when I was younger, am I right in saying that it's an area where there's little dot islands and little bits and bobs here and there?
Yeah,
so was it a bit of a hairy fight?
Yeah, it was a bit of a hairy fight. Yeah, and what made it more hairy than anything, I was on a 6-pound hook link as well. I chose to go small hooks.
Why the hell did you do
light
that?
hook links. I just thought that it would get me more bites, and I was confident with the way I played the fish. I was on a 10-pound main line where others were on 15.
Yeah.
And I just thought that I could do it that way, and it worked.
So you thought finding down might just get you bites where
me more bites, yeah, more bites than everybody else, but I had to be more careful because I was on such a light hook link and light main line. But it worked, so.
So did it get hairy? Did it?
It did get hairy.
If it wanted to go, you're going to have to kind of let it go.
Yeah. You can't stop a fish like that on 10-pound line. But yeah, had a few hairy moments, nearly going around the side of the island and walking around the nipple, and yeah, but all came good.
Yeah. Okay, so
in the net it went.
And it was 29-12. Did you ever have it over 30?
It never went over 30.
Oh, really?
No, not that I know of. I can't remember whether that was my first season or my second. I did do 2 seasons on there. But no, it never went £30 while I was on there.
Right, okay. Well, whilst we're on the subject of like really light hook links and stuff, because if I was on them I'd lose them, the next question is, what's your worst loss?
Worst loss would have to be on a local water called Walrow. It's a fish that was my target fish from the off, because I've seen my son on it a few years previously. I didn't actually see him have it, but I've seen a picture of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What's the fish look like? Just explain
It's
what attracted you to that fish. What made you think, yeah, that's the one I want?
it was just big. It was just a big frame fish. Not many scales on it. People will call them moids or whatever these days, or wrongans as they call them.
Yeah, but you like the wrong ones, don't you?
No, I just think a carp's a carp.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I wanted. It was big.
Yeah.
Big frame fish, white, very pale. Which I don't mind the fish. I love leathers, and it's very close to a leather.
Yeah, I think it was second in command on it. Like, wasn't it the second biggest fish at the time of when you lost it, or was it actually the biggest? I can't remember.
It was actually the biggest fish when I lost it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight. That one.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. Go into it then. What was the fight like? You know, from the moment you hooked it to the moment you lost it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I was fishing out of a swim called Pegate, and I was fishing, I don't know, probably 60 yards towards this island, which I was dropping just probably 5 or 6 foot short into a little dip on the corner of the island.
Yeah.
And I remember a friend of mine was sitting with me having a cup of tea, a lad called Austin, and it just ripped off. It's funny actually, because I'd just gone down onto it. What it is a pallet swim.
Yeah.
And I'd gone down the steps and stood on the pallet swim, just looking out, thinking, why hadn't I had a bite? And
why had you seen fish? Or?
yeah, I'd seen a bit of movement right over the top of where I was fishing.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'd walked down the steps onto the board, then I'd walk back and it ripped off straight away. The fight was hardly anything to start with. I just dragged it in like a dog on a lead. But when it got into the margins, it just went mental. And I remember seeing it and think, it's a fish called Chunky.
Yeah.
So I was playing it and playing it.
Just for context, sorry, Chunky's a very similar kind of fish, as in it's pale, isn't it? It's basically a leather, isn't it, Chunky?
Yeah,
so it looks very similar.
Yeah. But then it rolled again and I seen the tail, and then that's what made me realise what I was attached to then.
Yeah.
But then he was going mental.
Did your knees start to shake then as soon as you seen it, I guess?
My knees shake every time I hook a carp, so it doesn't matter what size it is or whether I saw it or not. My knees shake and hands and everything. Yeah, but I remember the fight. It was up and down in front of the pallet, in front of the swim. Didn't seem to have any problems with it at all. Then all of a sudden it crashed into the net where my mate was holding the net in the water, which I don't think that made any difference. It just came off in the end. I'd seen it, I knew what fish it was. Fish called scaramanga.
So was it ready for the net when the hook popped out?
No.
So it kind of bolted, did it, and then?
Yeah, it tried to get, what it was, with the swim, on the front of the swim where the pallet was, it was over the top of the water.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so the water went underneath the pallet, and it tried to get underneath the pallet. I was holding it out of there. And then it started to go up the margin, and that's when the hook just came
bumped off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I reeled it in and checked the hook and fired it straight back to the spot.
Was it still sharp?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? Like with hook
A friend of mine said, I can't believe you put that rig back out. Nothing wrong with it. Why not?
I think with hook balls, it's just one of them things, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all get them.
Fishing braid as well.
If you changed your rig and your hook every time you had a hook ball, then you'd be trying all sorts of different rigs all the time, wouldn't you?
All you can do is check the hook. If the hook's sharp, it's got to go back out, isn't it? You don't change it just because you've lost a fish. Okay, it might be the one you're after. I was after it for 10 years or whatever it was. Lost it.
Yeah.
Can't change anything.
Yeah,
it's what got you the bite.
Is what it is, isn't it? Yeah.